Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Michaela Werner, a sophomore from Grove, Oklahoma, was the national runner-up in the 5K at the NAIA Indoor Track and Field Championships. And take us through that 5K race on Saturday. What were the keys to your performance?
Well, I just thought about all the hard work I'd put in, over the last few weeks and last, couple months, and like my training, like leading up to the race. And I knew that the winner was going to take off early, and I just had to go with her and try my hardest to stay with her throughout the entire race. So I think that mental note, I just had to keep playing over my head. Like, you worked for this, you've earned this, you've earned to be here, and that's just what I kept thinking about throughout the race.
Last May, you were the runner-up in the NAIA Marathon. Take us back there, and what do you remember about that day?
Oh, it was so hot. Oh my goodness. I was really nervous about it. I'd never ran a full marathon before, so that was in the back of my mind. There was a lot of people who wouldn't even complete the race because of the heat, and I was worried about that. But overall, I just thought about throughout the race, and everyone's like always asking me, like, what do you think about, during that long? I'm like, I don't know. You just run and think about finishing the race. And so that's just what I thought about. And I just thought about crossing the finish line healthy, not getting injured, not, getting sick. And that was my main goal, was just to cross the finish line with a strong finish and knowing that I performed the best that I could. So.
You've set a goal for yourself this year to win that event at the Outdoor Championships. What is it going to take on your part to get there?
My part, I plan on training even harder this semester and training smarter throughout, not going out too hard in the first half of the race, because I think that's a lot of mistake a lot of marathoners make, is going too fast in those first even few miles even. And then they just start dying and, slowly going back, because during the first few miles, myself, I was probably in 20th or 30th place, but then over just 4 miles, you could see it just kind of slowly going ahead. So I think that's something that is really important, not to just go out too fast, just go out relaxed and comfortable and find a comfortable pace for the entire race. So I think that's what is going to take it to win.
You took All-American in cross country this last fall. What went into that performance?
Well, that race, it was not a very good race on my part, but it was just a race that I will take as a lesson learned and hopefully do better next year.
You set the state record in 3,200 meters in high school, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What do you remember about that day, and what went into that?
Well, I broke it twice, my junior year, and then I broke it again my senior year. So the first time I broke it, it was just this overwhelming, yes, moment. And and then the second time I broke it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. So, I really enjoyed high school track, and there are parts of it that I miss. So.
And what's your major here at OCU?
Exercise and sports science.
So what are your career goals following college?
I want to go into cardiac rehabilitation. So I've been looking into that, and I have an internship this summer that I'm really looking forward to at Integris Hospital. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
All right, great. We're talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Michaela Werner. You can follow the stars on OCUsports.com.
There's a call to be answered. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at NAIA.org.
Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to track cross-country coach Conor Holt. The Stars had several breakout performances over the weekend at the NAIA Indoor Championships. First of all, Coach, your men won the distance relay in that event. Talk about what went into that performance.
Yeah, it's exciting to actually win something indoors now on a national level. When you look at our program, we've won obviously a lot in cross country. We've won a ton in outdoor track. So it's kind of exciting now. The distance medley relay, it's made up of 4 events: the 1200 meter leg, the 400 meter leg, the 800 meter leg, and the mile leg at the end. So it's a really exciting event for me, and it's always one of the last events at the national championship. So you have some tired bodies in there from other teams, but our kids, I had a good chat with them the night before and had a good talk with them all, and they were motivated. They kind of talked about the pride in the program, having won 3 national titles in a row in cross country, and so it was exciting for the boys to come away with winning a national title on a relay event. Yeah, so it was good.
Arya Bahrini and David Mountford ran multiple races and became All-Americans in the process. What went into their individual performances? When
we were figuring out how many points we would score in the event, I had it pegged at about 45 points as a team. When that's what coaches do. Apart from drinking coffee and hanging out at the coffee house all day long, we actually think about how can we score points and 45. It ended up 4th place was 47 points, and we ended up 6th with, I believe it was 37 points. I think we're 6th place. So we were a few points off what I thought we'd done, and that was mainly because we had a few events didn't go our way individually. But those 2 boys, they stepped up. They scored 22 points between the 2 of them in two events, the 3K and the 5K, and it really just came down to just a good bit of the training had been very solid for the 2 of them over this winter. They'd listened to everything I had to say, and I was lucky they were both straight finals. Typically when you get to a national championship, you have a heat to qualify into a final, and there'd only been so many athletes declared for each of those events, so they ran them as straight finals on the day. The biggest probably worry for me was there was only about 40 minutes between the 3K final and the 5K final, and but I had a few tricks up my sleeves, things that I usually do with kids that run multiple events, but no, they both delivered big time. Arya obviously finishing 3rd in the 3K and then getting 2nd in the 5K, and then Dave ending up 6th in the 3K and ended up getting just squeaked out of 3rd. He got 4th in the end in the 5K. But what can I say about the 2 of them? Great performances, and kind of just they were both up there for cross country for us, and 2 great runs. So.
Another All-American for your men's squad was Michael Verco-Curtis, who finished 4th in the 1,000 meters. What went into his performance?
He's been banging on the door to winning an individual national title, and he kind of came up short a little bit on this one. I thought he had a really good shot, but there was one little move that was made, and I think part of it is just a little quick turnover that you need to run middle distance events, but Mike's been very dedicated this past year, and I know that outdoors he probably does have a good shot to win something, but that was a good run for him, and then he came back and ran the 1200 leg of the DMR, so I know he was itching to be part of that championship relay after finishing 4th. But all the middle distance events, it's exciting to kind of see when we go to these things now. You see OCU in the results, OCU out there, and it just goes to show how this program has come along and been part of what this success is all about. So
couple of runner-up finishes on the women's side as well with Sarah Moore and Michaela Werner. Tell us about their individual performances.
A year ago we only had Sarah at the championships representing the program. Now this time we had 6 ladies representing the program, and obviously Sarah, I thought we had a good shot to win it, but that girl that won, she looked like she had a few extra potatoes the day of the race, so she had a bit more kick in her. But Sarah came up, ran a school record 2:51, and I know she's itching. That's another one. She wants to take the bull by the horns now and look at outdoors and see what she can win something outdoors. But she's had a great winter, coming off cross-country All-American in the fall, and it's just exciting now. She's a 5-time All-American at OCU, and it's exciting to see what we'll do with her outdoors. And then Michaela, obviously, she's a marathon runner, and she's finishing runner-up as a freshman outdoors last year in the marathon, and then she just nearly got an All-American cross-country certificate. And then obviously I thought going into this we had a good shot of winning it. She came up a little short too, but she's so young and there's a great future for her. But finishing runner-up, if you're not going to win something, get second. That's what I always say. If you can't get second, get third. Just be fighting for points. And she was one that definitely, she gave it all. She had a few last laps there were a little bit of a struggle for her, but that kid's as tough as nails. Any kids that come out of Grove, Oklahoma, and come to Oklahoma City University, in my opinion, and be coached by someone like me, they're going to be top notch. And her family, they've supported her immensely, and she's a good one to have in the program. So.
Your women's distance medley team performed well as well. Tell us about that group.
You know, across the board we had 16 All-American certificates between the relays and individual events. Great performances, men finishing 6th as a team, women finishing 13th as a team, best program finishes. But the women's DMR, I think the ladies have been knocking on the door now, ever since these guys are just rolling out championship trophies year after year, winning All-American certificates. The ladies want to just do it as much. And I know they were motivated to go in there. That was a group too. Neve had ran the individual mile. She got 7th as a freshman, great performance. And then Sarah running the K 2 hours before she ran the mile leg of the DMR. So they were tired. But you know what? They fought, and they made the final, and they got 7th in the end. So All-American certificates, and they're all young, all returnees next year. So we'll be banging on the door, I think, to win a championship on the women's side. You know, so but great performances. Sheridan in the 800 leg and Alexis on the 400 leg, and you know they delivered. I told them it'd be a great goal to make the final and be All-American, and that's what they did, and a school record in the process too. So I can't complain. So.
We talked earlier about Arya Bahraini. He ran in the U.S. Olympic marathon trials recently. What has it taken for him to achieve that high of a level of running at a young age?
You know, I think you look at what he did. He was a 9:32 miler coming out of high school and wasn't recruited much by D1 school. And he's just an example of someone who's just worked hard, believed in himself, been very focused, and listened to me along the way, and has a great family support. I know he eats lentils every day, and it's probably a combination of just good coaching and a good bowl of lentils every day that helped him along the way. But yeah, what I was most excited about was, here's a guy that ran the marathon trials 3 weeks ago. Some people, when they run marathons, they can't walk right 3 weeks afterwards. But yeah, this kid went in, took care of business, and scored a bunch of points for me. And it just goes to show the kind of kids that I love coaching kids like Arya. They're just very enthusiastic about the sport. They want to give back to the sport. And you know what? I've nominated him for the Jim Wade Award for this year, and I'm keeping the fingers crossed that he wins it, because if there's anybody that exemplifies what it takes to become a student athlete and a collegiate athlete and win championships and do everything right academically at OCU, it's him. And he was my first big recruit, and 4 years later it goes to show that when you bring everything together in a positive way, things can happen. And so I couldn't be more excited for the kid, you know. And it was great to see him run those trials 3 weeks ago. He was mixing it up with the big boys and the best professional runners in the country, and it was great. It was funny, the first loop, there was 4 loops they had to do. The first loop coming around, he was in like 150th place. The second loop was 100. The third loop was in the 70s. And these guys were falling and dying all over the place, and Arya was just trotting along doing his thing. And you know, and that's the cool thing about this whole thing, is that's what it's about. It's about never giving up. And that's the kind of my motto in life. You never give up. You just keep plowing along, and good things will come your way, you know. So yeah, so that was exciting, you know. So
you've referenced the outdoor season, which is coming up just a couple of days from now.
Yeah.
Talk about what your expectations are for the outdoor season, and a little bit, what are the different challenges between indoor and outdoor track and field events?
Well, you know, look at our program in a whole. We're so successful in cross country now, so all the success, we build that into indoors, and then we use the indoors as a stepping stone to outdoors. So I've no doubt in my mind that what I saw indoors will multiply tenfold coming into outdoors. And probably the biggest challenge for these kids, I'd say, is that, you know, it's as a coach, you have to really plan their training so that they don't peak too early, or they keep the enthusiasm and the motivation up, because we have 6 sports. I coach 6 sports at OCU. Men's and women's cross country, men's and women's indoor track, and men's and women's outdoor track. So it takes a lot of motivation for me to be able to bring everything down now and build it all up again. And that's part of just being a good coach, I think. But the great thing about it is the athletes you get to coach. We have got great athletes, the ability to be able to bring everything down now and bring it all up. So that's probably the biggest challenge. Is it's a kind of a twofold thing. You have on my side trying to get these kids motivated now, and then on the athlete side, motivate them again to get it going. But that's what running's about. It's about taking obstacles and hurdles in life and take the challenge that you want to do it and want to do it really well. And I couldn't think of a better metaphor in life than being able to go out and run every day. Because life is like that. Life throws you tons of curveballs. It's what you do with it, is how you get through life, in my opinion. But very focused now on getting ready. We got some big meets planned, I think, and looking forward to some good championship races in May in Gulf Shore, Alabama, and bringing home a few more national titles to add to all the other hardware. The funny thing is that my office is getting too small now, because I have all these All-American certificates and championship trophies. We're going to have to tell the president here, listen, you're going to have to find somewhere new so I can move over there, because he's got a nice big office, you know, so. Anyhow, it's good talking to you as always, you know. So.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much. Talking to track and cross country coach Conor Holt. You can follow the Stars on OCUsports.com.